Milan's rebuild under Igli Tare is officially underway. First, Yunus Musah. It's never really worked out for the American midfielder at Milan ever since he arrived 2 years ago. But in a surprising twist, he's headed to Napoli. Yes, Antonio Conte's Napoli. That begs the question. What does Antonio Conte see in Musah that Milan didn't? Perhaps it's Musah's engine and versatility, traits Conte has historically turned into gold. Still, it speaks volumes that Igli Tare's first move is to offload a player signed by the previous regime. That's not a tweak, that's a clear out. Next, Theo Hernandez, one of Milan's best of players as of the past, but based on this season, very inconsistent, very troubling, and refusing to sign a new deal. And because of that, he faces an ultimatum. Yes, an ultimatum in 2025. Either he accepts Al Hilal's mega offer, or he prays a European club can match it. It's being reported that Atlético Madrid have already agreed personal terms with him, but can they, or anyone, match the same fee of Al Hilal? And finally, Maignan. For now, it looks like he's staying. Chelsea didn't get the deal over the line, and Allegri wants to keep him, but the board, they're less convinced. Maignan's refusal to sign a new contract has made him a prime candidate to be sold, if the right offer comes in. The bottom line is, Milan aren't just reshuffling, they're clearing house. And with Tare calling the shots, this summer could get very interesting. Milan. Just like the title says, Milan are a money-making machine. Yeah, what is that? The 4 M's. Milan, money-making machine. Bro, everyone's up for sale. Everyone's up for sale. Whoever you, it's like a car boot sale. Whoever you want, just pay the cash and he's yours. As of late, it's being reported, Yunus Musah is linked with a move. And what makes it exciting is the fact that I always thought if Yunus Musah was to leave Milan, there's no way in hell he upgrades. Like, there's no way in hell he fails upwards in life. He's leaving Milan for a Serie A team that finished first. He's leaving Milan for a team that has no European football next season, for a team that will, 1, compete for the Scudetto, 2, be in the Champions League. Like, who would have thought Yunus Musah leaves for Napoli? Now, it's being reported it's a fee between 20 and 25 million. Why would somebody like Antonio Conte want him? I think Conte has shown throughout his career he loves hard workers. He just loves tenacious, aggressive, hard-working midfielders, especially ones that are versatile, that he can play all over the park. And let's be real, if we were to sit down and just describe Yunus Musah in 1 or 2 words during his time at Milan, it's utility player. One day right back, one day left back, one day midfield, one day winger under Conceição. He's just a utility player, and he hasn't found the spot. And the main reason why he hasn't found the spot is because he's a jack of all trades, a master of none. That's just the harsh truth. A jack of all trades, a master of none. But Antonio Conte is probably looking at him and thinking, I can work with this. I can really work with this. And I think it's crazy. I'll just be honest. I never ever thought Napoli would fork out 20-25 million for somebody like Yunus Musah, who in my opinion has been catastrophic this entire season. But the reason why they're after him, just in my opinion, Anguissa has made it crystal clear, he's not looking to stay at Napoli. He wants to leave and experience football in another league. They want that physical profile to replace him. And they're looking at Yunus Musah and telling themselves, physically gifted, good at carrying the ball, maybe, just maybe, misunderstood. I don't know. But I'll be honest with you guys, the thing that surprised me the most is the reaction of the Milan fan base on social media. Some are petrified and worried that maybe, just maybe, Yunus Musah leaves and proves everybody wrong at Napoli. And then they sit back and regret it and say, oh, we should have kept him. Oh, we should have figured out a way to play him. Oh, we should have been more patient. And then, of course, the other section of the fan base, they're over the moon and they're celebrating. I'll be honest with you guys. You just have to look at it like this. This is just the way I look at it in football as a whole, players as a whole. Yunus Musah, the Milan chapter, has been one of the worst chapters to read, one of the worst chapters to watch. It hasn't worked out for him at Milan, and that is a fact. And it's not because he hasn't been given a chance. It's not because he's come across stubborn managers. If anything, no manager in the world loved him more than Sergio Conceição. He played week in, week out, and he failed to deliver the goods. He failed to show consistent performances. He failed to show a consistent level of quality. And in my opinion, throughout his 2 years at Milan, he's failed to show a consistent level of growth. And because of that, you sell those players. And if it means he goes to Napoli, where potentially he could prove everybody wrong, then so be it. Because it could also go the other way around, which is he now goes from being Milan's problem to Antonio Conte and Napoli's problem. But in my opinion, 25 million, I never ever thought Milan would get that money for him. Yes, it's going to a rival. Yes, he's practically upgrading. He's going to play Champions League football. He's going to compete for a Scudetto. Based on all the recruitments around the Serie A, there's a very high chance he's a Scudetto winner this time next summer. But I just feel like it's the right move. I'll be honest with you guys. It hasn't worked out for him at Milan for whatever reason. You cash in and you bring in a player that can elevate the team and that can improve the team. So for me, I think it's a move that makes sense. And to be fair, the fact that Tare has managed to get himself 25 million for a player like Yunus Musah, whose stocks are down, whose stocks are very low, it's impressive. I'll be honest with you guys. It's very, very, very impressive. What's next? Theo Hernandez's ultimatum. I don't know if it's true or not. Al Hilal are desperate for his signature, but he's made it crystal clear. Listen, I'm 26, 27, 28. I'm not ready to go to Saudi. I'm a France international. I've got a World Cup coming up. I want to play in Europe, and I still want to win. Like, with all due respect to the SPL. No clubs around Europe have come in for him besides Saudi, besides Al Hilal. And I'll be honest with you guys, Al Hilal are offering crazy money. They're offering crazy wages, but you can clearly see his primary passion, his primary interest is not money. He doesn't care about his pockets. He actually wants to win. And because of that, it's now being reported, that Atletico Madrid, Diego Simeone, have agreed personal terms with him. Now, whether or not they are willing to offer Milan what they truly want, I just feel like this is a chapter that's ending in a very, very, very bad way. And I feel like it will always leave a bitter taste in a lot of Milan fans' mouths. As crazy as that may sound, it just leaves a bitter taste because he's offered so much to Milan. There was a period where he was a fan favourite. Like, even in my opinion, the second half of the season, ever since the stupidity of getting sent off against Feyenoord, I feel like he improved. Like, you could see a bit more consistency. You started to see the old Theo Hernandez. But I always said it genuinely felt like he was unsettled. He didn't know what the future held. He didn't know who the coach was. There was clearly a breakdown in communication when it comes to the contract. And there's a lot of reports that indicate he actually wants to stay. Now, there was a report that came out a month or two ago, which actually stated Milan had offered him, I believe, 5 million per season. A month later, they retract that offer and offer him 4.5 million. If that is true, in my opinion, that is very disrespectful. Because what message are you now sending to the player? Which is, a month ago, we offered you more money. But now we're taking back that offer and we're going to offer you far less money. In my opinion, it's a slap in the face. It's basically the most indirected way of telling a player, we want you gone. And based off the way the board is behaving, like, if the ultimatum is true, which is either if no European club comes in for him and he refuses to accept Saudi Arabia and he's forced to stay and run down his contract, apparently he'd be exiled from the squad. So no Serie A minutes. He's basically on a 1-year vacation. I'll be honest with you guys. The board is moving ruthless, and because of that, I reckon they will get the sale that they want. I salute them for being ruthless, but at the same time, because I don't have any faith with this board, I genuinely look at them and say, you might get rid of him, hit the jackpot, make the money, Milan money-making machine, but I don't know if you guys are going to replace him with a player of equal quality, of equal potential, of equal promise. But with him, it's being reported that he's agreed personal terms with Atletico Madrid. Milan want him out. He's refused to sign a new deal. And I genuinely believe the reason why he's refusing to sign a new deal, I think it's just a matter of maybe money, maybe growth. Maybe he wants to see what direction this club is going in. Like, I would genuinely look at it and say, maybe, just maybe, it's worth taking the risk. Keep him on board for the last 12 months. And yes, he could leave for free. But if he sees the club is heading in the right direction, I reckon he'd put pen to paper. But it is a massive gamble because it can go one of two ways and you lose him for free. And finally, Maignan. What a mess. What a mess that was. Chelsea wanted him. They wanted to secure his services before the Club World Cup. There was a 7 p.m. deadline. Chelsea didn't pay. And I'll be honest with you guys, this might be the first time that I sit down and praise this Milan board. And I'll turn around and say, you know what? You wanted a certain amount of money. Chelsea, I've always stood by this. The offers that they were making were disrespectful. The first offer was 10 million. 10 million for a France international. He is the #1 goalkeeper for France, and you offer 10 million just because he has 1 year left on his deal. There's clubs across the world selling players with 12 months left on their deal for 40, 50, 60 million. How much did Milan pay Chelsea for Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who had 12 months on his deal? I can promise you it was more than 10 million. And by the way, Ruben Loftus-Cheek was not an England international. Ruben Loftus-Cheek was not an integral member of that Chelsea team. He was a utility player. He was a squad player. He was even struggling to get onto the bench. He was just going out on loan, left, right and centre. Crystal Palace, Fulham, all over the place. I believe Milan went and paid 20, 25 million with 12 months to go. Return the favour. Okay, that's the best way to put it. Return the favour. So I actually do salute the Milan board. They wanted, I believe, 20, 25 million. If you don't pay, feel free to go into the Club World Cup with whatever keepers you currently have. Now, it's being reported Allegri wants him to stay. And it makes sense, I'll be honest with you guys. Like, yeah, he's made mistakes, but I still think he's a solid goalkeeper. And I'm of the same opinion with Theo Hernandez, which is, I just feel like there was so much, like, they were so unsettled because of what was going on with the contract issue, with the board issues, all of the internal issues. Like, it had an impact on their performances on the pitch. Every single day, a new coach. Allegri is looking at him and saying, this is an experienced pro. This is a winner. And it genuinely feels like Maignan wants to stay. Like, he's the one guy that's always open to negotiations when it comes to staying at Milan. Maybe, just maybe, it's a matter of contract length. Maybe, just maybe, it's a matter of just a few extra thousands on his contract. But he's definitely one person that I look at and say, if it is true that he's going to stay for the next 12 months, I wouldn't be surprised if by Christmas he signs a new deal. I genuinely would not be surprised if he signs a new deal. Like, if I was Allegri, I'm looking at him and saying, captain, leader, experience, he knows Milan, no issues with like his personality, his behavior, his mentality. It's just a matter of they can't agree on the numbers. But Milan, it's really coming across like Igli Tare is clearing house. He's selling before he signs. And I'll be honest with you guys, as much as it might be frustrating to see teams in and around make signings, I actually look at it and say, you know what, sometimes it makes sense. Get rid of all the players that you don't need. So when it comes down to making business, you know, I need 2 midfielders because the midfielders that I currently have are staying. So I need to add 2 more. I need a winger. I need a striker. Yeah. And at the moment, Reinders is gone. Theo Hernandez looks like he's gone. Yunus Musah looks like he's gone. Emerson Royale is reportedly on his way out. Clearing house. And then I reckon they will probably dedicate an entire month to just signings. But that's what's going on at Milan. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on another one.